Hey you, it's true, with a new tier list for Evertale based on data from top arena teams worldwide. And let's get started with the new units first. Cerberus, the new burn guard, is arguably better than any guards released before her. I called her Light Anya 2.0 in my review for a reason. She built on her skills, but kind of makes it even better with the 3-headed defense and the mega healing burn. And she even packs a punch herself. An absolute must-have for any top burn team right now. But that's also where the story ends pretty much, because her synergies with other team types are very limited. Her Hellhound skill basically makes it so that your team needs to be stun immune, otherwise she might end up stunning your own team more than the enemy team. This is why she ends up in A tier right now, but with burn getting stronger, her power is also very much expected to increase. However, another slight issue is that she is a bit vulnerable to the top meta units right now. Water Anya with the Forced Sleep, Dark Cinderella with her Berserker mode, Cleopatra who can basically banish her because Cerberus is not immovable. The next new unit doesn't have this issue for a while, although she might still struggle against Cleopatra. Anyways, Yukata Ludmilla, the new Earth 100% guard, is immovable for 200 time units and a very strong guard for 300 time units. She needs to be beefy enough to survive the first hit, but afterwards she only has to fear passive ignoring attacks for 150 time units. Well, that's not quite true, because what she has to fear even more is encountering any burn units. Because if she is burning, her survival passives do not trigger. In that sense, she is the polar opposite to Cerberus. But against any other team type, she is really amazing and quite possibly the very best guard in the game. She has the amazing one-time use only active skill Dawn of Spring, which gives the turn to all 100% HP units on your team and heals the other ones. It also gives all of them the recovery mist, which is quite amazing because not only does it mean that these units heal a little bit every time any unit takes a turn, but there's also a 30% chance to get purified on these turns as well, which is quite a good sleep counter in certain cases. And we haven't even talked about her Flower Shower skill yet, which life flips her, but more importantly purifies your entire team and randomly grants them a ward, for example against stun or sleep. The friendly evasion, granting a stealth shield to one ally, is just the cherry on top. This is why she goes to the SS tier for now. The only thing really holding her back from the top tier is the extreme weakness to burn, but luckily for her, burn is still not extremely prevalent in the meta on many servers, which would actually push her down further. That said, I think she will stay relevant for quite a long time. This could be true for the next new unit, Percival, as well. Though she isn't a guard, she is quite the amazing DPS support unit with all kinds of gimmicks. She starts out slow, but once she gets her second blast wave off, any non-burn teams might be in serious trouble. Funnily enough, despite being of the light element, she might just be the strongest stun unit in the game right now. Though Odin might disagree with that. Not only every second blast wave is stunning, but she also stuns if she kills certain elements, or if she attacks certain elements with the elemental eruption. A powerful survival skill that is unlocked after only 200 time units. It could also sleep or mega poison certain units that she attacks with it. To finish off her DPS story, she also has a skill that ignores survival passives. Royal Void can be used against any unit that has already defeated a unit, or if Percival has already gotten 2 kills. Though to be honest, I think she can even use that skill if none of these conditions are met. Then it will just deal very little damage, which might just be enough against units that are currently at 1 HP with the Hold Ground plus triggered. Speaking of Hold Ground, she has a very powerful one that does not yield against poison or burn status effects, and given that she can heal on every turn she gets, this can be quite the nasty combo to deal with. All that is to say that she is going to SS tier right now. Besides what I have already listed, she is also a great healer for your team and has some nice vengeance and revenge effects. I think any team that is not Burn needs at least one copy of Percival, and I do think it's fair to say that she's definitely one of the top 3 units in regards to value at 1 copy right now. Another light unit was released straight afterwards, the first light burn unit since Apollo and Artemis. Mordred is an amazing support for any burn teams. She is the first burn unit since Freya that has a hold ground plus, but in combination with the healing burn and mega healing burn, it makes a lot of sense. She has the give turn to all burning units, some powerful attacks, and basically a counter burn skin that cannot be ignored. I personally think she's the 3rd best burn unit right now after Gilgamesh and Cerberus, and she is going to the A tier. Now that we tiered all the new units, let's go through the tier changes, starting as always at the bottom. 4 units are joining the Graveyard tier: Sakura, the light overdrive support unit, and the 3 dark poison units Rin, Shutendaoji, and Dark Corlin. Dark Ossia is falling by 1 tier as well. In times of Dark Sun Wukong, her auto poison can actually turn out to be a liability. We just briefly mentioned her before. The burn stealth unit, Apollo and Artemis, is joining the F tier as well. There's just too many great burn alternatives now. Looking further up to the E tier, another light unit is dropping, and that is Mizuchi. 1.5 years ago, still possibly the best finisher unit in the game with a counter skin, her hold ground and her time drain plus. Now she's mostly benched in all top teams. Storm Ludmilla came out just after the original Lancelot and Storm Jeanne, but arguably much less potent than both of them. She goes from D to E tier. Just as Angel Reset who is not even 1 year old at this point. Unfortunately, they kind of botched her endless mechanic by making it a one-time revenge only. Subsequent Dark releases like Angel Jeanne and Dark Sun Wukong introduced mechanics that would have suited her much better, I think. Speaking of Sun Wukong, but the Storm variant, this one is actually going from E to D tier, though I do think this is a bit of a fluke, but congrats to her anyways. No congratulations are in order for Haku, who is dropping from C to D tier. The light support unit is now definitely overshadowed by many other units that provide better value than her. Also, her AI always held her back a little, it seemed. I'm a bit sad to see Storm Rolotia drop as well. She is one of the oldest units, still holding on from the 1.0 era, still useful at just 1 copy with the stun entry, but of course her successor Giga Rolotia does everything she does much better. And then there is Dark Jeanne, a prior number 1 unit that is mostly still holding on because revenge ignoring skills have actually become less common. In the other direction, we see Honoji rise from D to C tier, definitely benefiting from the new burn unit releases. Interestingly, not benefiting from that is Fire Elmina, because she seems to have fallen out of favor for the 5th position, where she was a mainstay for burn platoons for quite a while, with the burn stun entry. And then we also see Water Corlin fall. She stayed relevant for a long time, but now Cleopatra is just so much better at what she does, i.e. disrupting the enemy with imposters. 1 tier further up, we have Bright Snow White drop from A to B tier, still good and unique with the elemental transformation skill, but just not really a game changer in any top teams of today's meta. More and more hold ground plus ignore skills are hurting her as well. Similarly, Ludmilla and Clarice continue to fall out of favor. Last summer they were a top unit, now they are struggling with more and more sleep nerfs being introduced and the increased passive ignores as well, because they kill their strong deadly card mechanic. Other than those changes, the A tier stays the same. We see that it is now mostly made up of the best burn units and some solid hold ground plus picks like Water Alice. In the S tier we can observe some drops which are quite interesting. Sleeping Beauty held on to the top tiers for a very long time. The Thorn mechanic is still powerful, but there are 2 things hurting her at the moment. One is the slow resurgence of burn, which she is very weak against, and the other one, you might recognize a common theme here, is more and more passive ignores, which do mean that the Thorns fail to keep Sleeping Beauty alive against those kinds of attacks. Another drop is a bit surprising to me, but on the other hand, there are good explanations for it. We see Dark Sun Wukong drop from SS to S tier. Very important to point out here is that this is strictly speaking about Arena, because I do think that Dark Sun Wukong is indeed the very best PvE unit in the entire game right now. Killing her off is often very hard if she already started cloning herself, which is most reliably the case if she is run as a starter unit. And here is where it gets tricky, because she is a singular attack unit, she doesn't have passive ignoring attacks, and her compatibility with any unit outside of poison is somewhat limited. To be fair, she was the 4th unit released in a row by SSR back in January, so some people may not have had the soul stones to pick her up, even though they wanted to. So let us see where she lands after her 2nd banner. Now looking up to the SS tier, where the new units Percival and Yukata Ludmilla already joined Cleopatra, Kaguya and Odin. Odin still a top platoon 2 or 3 unit with her ravens if you don't run any burn. A similar thing can be said for Kaguya with her massive cursed sleep skill set, and we do see Light Anya join from above, still the highest rated guard, but not totally unexpected that the release of 2 other strong guards pushes her down a little. Light Anya is still the best universal guard in the game though, so if I know nothing about your team, I can always recommend Light Anya anyways. The stun absorb is relevant when you're facing stun or burn teams nowadays, and if she isn't stunned, her active skills can provide some very nice support as well. That leaves us with Cleopatra, who interestingly enough experienced a great rise again. She is a unit that provides massive value at 1 copy already because of her disruption skills. As mentioned before, the imposters are just really nice. She is a very decent counter against any 100% guards. Yes, even Yukata Ludmilla because of her first attack ignoring survival passives. And she does start with a stun ward, so I've also seen some burn teams utilizing her. All in all, a deserved SSS tier unit at this point in time. The same is true for the number 2 Dark Cinderella. Fascinating to see 2 dark units in the top tier, when 1 year ago we didn't even have any dark unit in the top 10. Now we have 4 dark units there. Unbelievable stuff, but back to Dark Cinderella. She has some weaknesses. Her survivability might not be the very best in the game, but oh boy, if she gets rolling, then she can absolutely massacre an enemy team. Her Berserker mode is easily activated, quickening her significantly and making her ignore any survival passives on enemy units, which in combination with her powerful active skills, the Shatter Blast, the Demolition Rate that hits 2, and the Savage Storm, can be the most lethal combo in the entire game. And to top it all off, all her attacks steal Spirit, and she has the Spirit Crash that resets her Hold Ground Plus. Life flips her and resets enemy Spirit to 0. So yeah, SSS tier for sure, just as the still reigning number 1 in Arena, Water Anya. Still the most powerful active skill in the entire game with the Aegis Overload. Her Power Barrier provides additional protection to her team. She's pretty much only weak to stun and passive ignoring attacks, and probably the most important point in Arena, if she is fully awakened, every non-conjured unit that enters the battlefield for your team gets a strong entry effect. Personally, I think the strongest one is when a light element enters and purifies and heals the entire team. That's it for now. Here is the new tier list for May 2024 based on the top teams from the OG servers in Japan, in rest of Asia, in Europe and the Americas. If you want to see the arena teams that are the basis of this list, as well as the regional rankings and the calculation process, check out the timelapse video linked in the description. You can also find an invite to my Discord server there, but more importantly, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe to become a true carrot. That would be a great motivation for me, and as always, thanks for watching.